So there's a picture. There's a picture that hung in my parents' house. In the picture is a toddler wearing a white dress. The toddler is my great-grandmother. Standing next to her is a woman dressed in black. But I never knew who the lady in black was. And I remember as a kid just being terrified of this picture during the night. I would always be afraid that I'd come around the corner and just see her standing there. One day I'd ask my mom, hey, who's the lady in black in the photo? She told me I could ask my grandmother, who would be visiting later that day. This was during a Thanksgiving trip. And I asked my grandmother. She said that no one in our family knows who this lady in black is. Yeah. I was alone in my first apartment. I woke up one morning and just could not move. I didn't know why. And honestly, I thought I had died. I really thought that's what happened. So yeah, that's kind of where the idea had come from. You know, I'd shared the script with a buddy of mine, Graham Mihalski, who directed Doppelganger with me. He said, that's gotta be the next film you make. So I trusted his instinct on that and went full force into it. Could have done less with the boob sweat, but I think you get it. Okay.
You got boob sweat?
A little bit.
Oh man.
All right, you ready? Just close your eyes. And I knew that I could use JD as a resource in this film. He plays the doctor. He's also played in several other of my films. I knew he had a pet snake named Steve. So I had to write it into the film. And I knew he'd be comfortable handling it and having it crawl all over him and everything.
Well, it's kind of fun being evil.
You know, Ellie, I found her just during casting, and she was just, you know, she was so sweet and she was such a great sport. There's a scene where she has to wear special contacts in the film. Not only was she willing to wear them, she was willing to go to a special eye doctor to get them fitted. While she's wearing these contacts, she's completely blind, so she had to be guided to her marks when the time came for that. We were really lucky to have someone as talented and as cool as she is. You know, for the look of Mære, I knew I wanted to base it off the woman in the photo. So it was important that she had black hair, pale skin, but I wanted to add some other elements too, and I wanted to add an element of tiredness. You know, I really wanted her to look like she almost hadn't gotten any sleep for centuries. The solution we ended up coming up with was ordering these special contacts. You know, these contacts were hand painted, specifically customized for our film, because it really helped define that character and make her so terrifying.
Wonderful.
You got me. I had the extreme luck of working with a great producer, Brock Howard. He is, you know, a phenomenal filmmaker in his own right, and he really was just great with getting everything organized and structured, and he was very patient with me at times. He also was able to get the film funded for us. We were able to work with Jared Champion, with Cage the Elephant. We were very excited to be, not only to have him as executive producer, but just have his feedback and talents on the film. It was really appreciated.
Tape marks.
You know, Charles Coleman really is the person that got my start in the film industry. To have him be cinematographer for me on this project really was a dream come true in many ways. He was able just to bring so much to the film itself. He had connections that helped us get the location for the movie with the big spiral staircase. Like, I mean, how much production value was that, right? Like, it's almost a whole other character in it itself. You know, with the cinematography, I think the main challenge with it was to make the moonlight convincing and to be able to work at the speed that we needed to do in order to get all the shots that we needed. The thing with horror, which is his blessing and curse, is that you have to be creative with the shots that you put in. You can't just, you know, go wide, medium, close up. You know, you've got to really plan out what's happening and block it well, so that way it's visually stimulating in a way that scares people. If I could go back, I would have probably filmed this movie in maybe 3 or 4 days instead of 2. and that way we have the time to do what we need to do.
We had a pretty small budget to make this film, which means that we needed to be as versatile as possible, but also get the quality of work that I thought this film required. Luckily, Charles owned Ursa Mini Pro. You know, Blackmagic's always, I think, been known to kind of set the standard as far as coloring and that post-production flow work. So it was, at the time, at this shooting, you know, the Ursa Mini was still kind of a newer camera on the scene. And, you know, I'm glad that we used the camera to shoot the film. It was, obviously, you get the 4.6K image, but also it was very versatile in other ways as well. Like, you were able to record in a 21:9 format in camera. The framing was already set in that camera. There was no cropping in necessary or anything like that. And the fact that we could shoot on ProRes 444, it gave us plenty of information for coloring the image and putting the piece together. And there was just so much flexibility in what we could do in the images. You know, we could see a lot of details in the blacks and include, you know, bright lights in there without them clipping. And the camera has almost like a natural roll off. Overall, the experience with shooting the film on Ursa was mostly positive, I would say. It is kind of a heavier camera, but you know, I think anything else in that arena that you're going to be shooting with, as far as like what kind of cameras you could be using, it's, you know, comparable, if not lighter, than some of the bigger production cameras, the more expensive production cameras that are out there.
We did a lot of revisioning and re-editing in this film to kind of help condense the idea down to the time it needed to be, as well as just make sure that everything felt scary. So we also revisited a lot of stuff in ADR to help make sure a lot of the scientific language that was brought up in the film was consistent and made sense. But I think in the end it really paid off to spend that amount of time to make sure the film was where it needed to be.
It's a wrap.
It's the end.
It's a wrap.
We did it.
It's the end
We
of
did
the
it.
film.
We were very strategic with the festivals that we selected for this film, and it really paid off. It's won several awards. It's brought me all over the country. It took my wife and I to Mexico at the Oaxaca Film Festival, which was very exciting this year. We got to pitch a feature film idea, which was really cool. You know, this film was able to take us places, and I learned a lot making this film because of that. Thank you for watching the behind the scenes of Mære. If you'd like to continue to support our work, I have an email list. Just go to Mære's website. That's the best way to keep up with not only what's going on with that film, but with all the films that I'm doing. It was a pleasure making this film. It was a pleasure talking to you. So thank you so much for watching behind the scenes of Mære.
Doctor,